Hello everyone. Let us talk about India and US relations. US is still the superpower in the world. It controls the world diplomacy, the international relations, the geopolitical dominance. It also controls the financial and economic systems of the world. And in the defense, if we talk about the defense, uh, then US is the largest military, the most powerful military in the world. In terms of nuclear power, US is number one. So it is a well-established superpower in the world as per now. Although China is trying to counter, but still, in the coming decade, US is going to maintain its position, as the experts believe. But later on, China is having a chance of being the superpower. And on the other hand, India is a country which has a growing economy, but a very huge mass and market. So that clearly indicates that US being the most economically strong country and India being a big market. So the ties between two of these countries is very important. So that is why we are going to discuss them. And from India's angle, US is a very important partner. If we talk, then it is one of the most reliable, and India is quite dependent also on US, and vice versa also. US is also dependent on us because of our IT services, IT exports. So the relation between two these countries is very important and very crucial to have a look on. So let us start from the beginning, from the by the phrase from the beginning, I mean 1947 or the 1950s, because pre-independence pre-independence the British crown was controlling all the international relations from India's side. So that is why we should always consider India's international relations uh, after 1947. After 1947, that was a time of a Cold War. The countries were polarized as US bloc or USSR bloc. Pakistan, which was recently divided from India, chose US as its partner, but India played safe there. India uh, took the policy of non-alignment, and it neither tied itself with US nor USSR. So I think that was a very good move, because in the beginning we should focus more on our own economic development, our own internal matters, rather than going out and just pushing our leg into the Cold War that was going on. So that was a very nice move by India. But in 1962, when John F. Kennedy got elected as US president, then he was very much keen to make good relations with India, and that was the time when the India and US relation tried to improve. In 1965, when India China war was at its peak, then US came and supported India and said that that Chinese aggression cannot should is not justified. So that was the time when India and US relations were growing. But soon, when John F. Kennedy lost the elections, and the government changed, then it was observed that India and US relations was held, and the ties between India and USSR improved. The military exchanges between India and USSR were great. USSR was providing India one of the most advanced equipments. So that is why India was very much inclining to USSR. As a result, we have seen that in 1972, when the India-Pakistan war broke out, then USSR came and defended India against Pakistan and USA, and that was a major reason why India won the war of 1972. So USSR played a very crucial role in that war, and India benefited from both its allies, from both its partners. India benefited from US in 1965 and with USSR in 1972. So that was the time when India was not having a clear stance that where it have to go. Fast forwarding the time to the 21st century, today we can see that India is very much inclined to USA. After the fall of USSR, India developed its international relations, India reconsidered its choices of inclining towards USSR, and India finally decided that it wants USA as its partner. So today we can see the result. India and US are comprehensive partner in various fields like trade, like defense, like climate, like technology, and many other fields. India and the US are comprehensive partners. Political relations between two of these countries are very strong, and recently we have seen that there are a lot of visits of the topmost level between two of these countries. USA is the country that has been visited by Prime Minister Modi the most number of times, and the US presidents, let it be it Barack Obama or Donald Trump, they came to India, and also Joe Biden is expected to visit India very soon. So we can see that the high level visits are there, and that is why the political relations of two of these countries are said to be very very nice, very good. Coming to the defense cooperation, then two of these countries share share very much same opinions as defense is considered, and the maritime security, because in Indo-Pacific, China is trying to exaggerate its dominance, and and US and India both have same opinions that China should not ag- aggressively exaggerate its dominance in the Indo-Pacific as well as the South China Sea. So for that, India and US had maintained a very good, excellent defense cooperation by doing many military exercises like Yudhabhyas, Vajra Prahar, Tiger Tramp, um, and like Malabar is also the exercise which is conducted with the Quad countries, and India and US are also in that. So the defense cooperation is a lot, and as we all know that we import a lot of high tech equipment from USA. So the defense trade factor is also there, that India is important for USA for its defense exports, and USA is important for India for its defense imports, because one of the most high tech equipments are available with the US, uh, as compared to any other country like Russia or China. So the defense cooperation is excellent. If we consider the space sector, then two of these countries are comprehensively working with each other in the space sector. We can see that there are a lot of Indian origin people working in NASA. So that is the soft power that India enjoys in the space sector and space cooperation with the US, and also the direct cooperation is between two these countries are in the areas like satellite launching and reaching Mars. Mars is a common mission that almost all the major countries share in the world, and India and US are the countries which are working collectively in this area. Because both of us are quite successful in this area. India landed on Mars with a very less budget, and also has US has successfully conducted its Mars mission in previous years. So that is why this cooperation is also very crucial. Moving on to the information exchange. Information exchange was a thing that is a thing that is very crucial in modern day world order. And for that, India and US signed an agreement in 2020, that is BECA. BECA was the agreement which gave both of the countries the power to access the information, so for their sovereignty and security. So that was a major step taken by both the governments. Donald Trump visited Donald Trump visited India, and the 2+2 talks were there, and the BECA was signed. So this was a major step, and also we have signed some other agreements with USA in the past. The and those are the COMCASA and LEMUA. COMCASA is an agreement which is for communication. That the communication between two of these countries are secured and comprehensive. For that, COMCASA was signed back in 2016, and LEMUA. And LEMUA is the agreement that was signed uh, back in the previous decade, and it majorly focuses on the use of military bases of each other. So both the countries, India and US, can can use each other's military bases for good purposes, of course, not for war, not for exaggeration, but for the purposes, for small purposes, like, for example, a very trivial example, like India is traveling uh, through the coast of Africa, and the Indian ship requires some fuel, then it can get its fuel from the military base of US that which it is having there. So these kinds of agreements are very crucial and very important for almost all the from almost um, all the perspectives, like defense, like geopolitical relations, and also showing the unity of two of these countries, because the Chinese angle is there, and the world must be united against the Chinese aggression. So these agreements shows that India and US are trying to be partner, and they both are eager to do so also. So recently we have seen that Joe Biden became the 46th president of US, and US politics very much affects the whole world. The geopolitical order of the whole world is affected by US internal politics. As Joe Biden became the president, then there are some policy shifts that are to be expected, and some policy shifts are already taken, like the Paris Agreement Accord, the Paris Climate Accord, which from which Donald Trump withdrew US. So Joe Biden, being a being a being a Democrat, pushed US into Paris Climate Accord, and this is the thing where we can see that India and US common are having a common interest, because India is one of the few countries which are following the Paris Climate Accord very efficiently, and India is working in this direction very fast, and very very eagerly. Recently, we have seen that Prime Minister also addressed COP26 and said that by 2070 India will be net carbon emission, zero carbon emission producer. So this is the thing where both the countries are having common interests, and they are also working in this field by uh, because India is importing a lot of a lot of technology for clean energy production, and in this area also these two countries are working very comprehensively. Also, when Joe Biden became the president of US, then the vice president was an Indian origin lady, Kamala Harris. So that gives a soft power kind of relation between India and US, that an Indian origin lady is the vice president of US. So that is a thing of proud, and it also might help in some way in the future in the relations of these two countries. Talking about the trade, so here is the good news for India, because India is in trade surplus with the US. These India is uh, because so why is India in trade surplus? Because we can see that with most of the countries like China, like Russia, India is in trade deficit, but with the US, India is in trade surplus. There's a trade of about $56 billion. That is huge, and that too by having while having India's trade surplus is because of the IT exports of India. Indian IT industry is very important and plays an integral role in in the growth of US tech companies. Indian engineers are working hard for the IT exports for the US. So that is why India US relations becomes more crucial because of this trade, and the IT services and the technology for which US is known for is is supported by Indian engineers. So that is why the relationship becomes more crucial. Talking about the investments, then US is very important foreign direct investors. Most of the FDIs that come into India are from the US. US US investment in India is a lot. That is why we are able to gather a lot of foreign reserve. So India currently have 650 billion US dollar reserves. That has been possible, due to the US foreign direct investments in Indian stock market, because Indian stock market has performed exceptionally well in the last 2 years. So the investment is a lot, and the Indian startups, India is growing exponentially in the field of startups, and for that Indian entrepreneurs need funding, and a very large amount of and very large part of that funding comes from the US. So that is why investment is very uh, is a very big thing in the US relations, and that is also at a good place. Talking about the GSP status, so GSP status simply in the layman terms refers to the trade barriers, that the trade between two of these countries will not have some tariffs, the the duties and the duties will be exempted when the trade between two of these countries is going on. So the GSP, so India was having the GSP status from the US government. So that was a very important thing for India, and because Indian companies saved billions of dollars due to that GSP status. But in 2019, Donald Trump cancelled the GSP status of India. So that was a step that I think is the biggest thing that the US did in the last 5 to 10 years, that has affected the Indo-US relations negatively. But uh, as Joe Biden is in power now, so it is expected, or at least we can hope, that India will definitely get this GSP status soon, because as the power shifted, policies also shifted. And another thing that is a concern for Indians, and for the Indians who are going abroad, is the H1B visa. So for Indians who are going to work in the tech companies in the US, like the established one, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Tesla. So for that, uh, Americans will be Americans will be preferred over any immigrant, and so that is for so this is a hit for the people who were trying to go abroad, go in the US, and who were trying to get a job in the tech companies. So uh, so for that, so I think it should not be a thing that the Indian government should be concerned of, because the brain drain will be very much maintained in this step. Indian engineers will now be able to work, or they are forced to work in India, and if they work for India, then the economy of India will grow soon. So this was all about Indo-US relations. So I think in the coming years, the Indo-US relations will be growing with a faster pace, because the Chinese angle is introduced in the last few years. China is expanding its economy, and will and is challenging US as the world superpower, and it is also trying to um, impose its dominance, not only geopolitically but also on the land. It is trying to exaggerate its boundaries uh, from all the sides. It is claiming the countries in South China Sea. It is claiming some integral parts of India like Arunachal Pradesh and Aksai Chin, and also it is claiming some islands in Japan. So there is a lot of exaggeration that China is imposing, and a lot of disturbance in the South China Sea and Indo-Pacific. So this is a thing that India and US must be concerned of, and they are concerned of. So that is why they are forming the groups like Quad, for to at least come together and talk on the issue that they both care for. And China becoming the economic and the military superpower will be a disaster for both of the countries. So that is why both these countries need to be come together and work uh, and work for betterment and peace in the world. And so that was all about Indo-US relations. Thank you very much.